Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the Lofi Mafia podcast, episode 2. My name is Jace, and joining me today.
I'm Lynn.
And I'm having an identity crisis.
Oh, really?
What's your identity, Chris?
What's my name?
I think Jenna's a good name. What about you, Jace?
I mean, sure, it works like any other, I suppose.
What do you think?
I don't know, you sound like you have a better suggestion in mind.
Alrighty, we'll stick with Jenna. We'll roll with Jenna. So,
We'll figure it out at some point or another.
we will.
No,
Eventually.
we won't.
But anyway, so today's topic, or plan for topic, is based on last episode, singular, that we'll attempt to talk about it for like 2 minutes and then get sidetracked. But anyway, let's talk about the film industry.
Ooh, the film industry. That's a huge bucket of rocks.
Let's narrow that down a little bit. What about like the future of, I guess, movie theaters versus streaming? Because I suppose the current pandemic, of course, has made movie theaters kind of slowly be a little bit more obsolete. But after this, once everything's back to normal, or as normal as anything might be after a global pandemic, what do y'all think's the future of movie theaters in the world of entertainment?
I, for one, really like movie theaters. I feel like it just really enhances the experience of watching the film. Because whenever you're watching a film, it's meant for amusement. And that is basically a distraction from, regular life like you would whenever you're reading a book or listening to music or anything like that. But with a movie theater, it creates an atmosphere where it really focuses you on that on the big movie screen. The lights are down, you have popcorn or whatever, you're in these big plush seats or and all of a sudden the movie industry logo pops up and you're like, oh, wow, I'm about to go on an adventure or whatever. And but with streaming or watching it at home, there's all sorts of distractions. Yeah, you might be hooked onto it, but then there's things like, I don't know, your siblings running around or the phone rings. And then those little distractions that kind of take you away from that bit of amusement that I feel like theaters really, really not rely upon, but really enhance, if that makes sense, whenever you're watching the movie.
I love movie theaters, but man, did they break my wallet.
That is true.
So what? Disney Plus is the big streaming site out there right now. That's $8 a month, $72 a year. On average, what tickets to movie theaters would be about $7.50? Question mark. I don't remember.
I mean, that sounds about right. The movie itself is cheap. It's the freaking whatchamacallem, all the popcorn, the concessions. That's what kills you.
True movie experience, unless you get the popcorn and
the overpriced popcorn.
To be honest, I'm not a huge movie popcorn person. I never got.
I know. I like the candy. I'll be honest, but I love chocolate, so I would pay $4.50 for chocolate.
There you go.
But I think because of Disney, with streaming services, you have the ability to rewatch the movies too, and it not cost you another $7.50. And you can also go to the dollar store if you want to make it a fun movie night. I mean, I don't drink soda, but 2-liter bottle of soda, handful of candy boxes won't cost you more than $5, $6, $7. And then you can just sit at home with your family, invite friends over, etc. I don't know. I like Lynn was talking about. I do miss going to the theater and the experience itself, and I miss going there with friends, meeting up for a dinner or lunch beforehand. We have a Steak and Shake right next to our movie theater, so we'd always go hang out there, go to the movies, hang out afterwards, talking. laughing through the previews, etc. It has a charm about it that I miss, but it's pricey.
Yeah, and sometimes what really sells those tickets is like that experience and the charm. Sometimes, people will, I guess, watch things and they're just like, I just like going out with my friends, with to the movie theater or whatever, not really thinking about the movie sometimes. And it is that experience that really is the essence of going to the movie theater.
I do have to say, I love seeing like other people's reactions. So for a lot of like the big name movies, Marvel, Star Wars, since The Force Awakens came out, um, I've been there like opening night for what all the Star Wars movies. I know Infinity War, Endgame, and I think those are the only two Marvel ones. But just the tension in the crowds, because I would go Thursday night. They would have like two shows Thursday night before the official release date on Fridays at my theater. And you go in completely blind, and seeing something on the screen for the first time as 50 other people in the room, that's a really cool experience.
Mhm.
This memory always sticks with me. So the Last Jedi, it's just funny. Let me try to remember the scene. It was they're on crate, and it was just Leia standing there, and the door was opening, and kind of we saw the surface of crate for the first time with all the crystal foxes. And Leia had the really cool pose where her collar was up, covering half her face. She was turned kind of to the side. I don't know if I'm describing this correctly.
No,
And,
yeah, I get that.
and this one girl in front of me, she just whispers, "Aesthetic." And
Yes.
it took self-control to not burst out laughing. Um, the whole theater cheered. I guess redundant spoiler warning, by the way. During Endgame, when like several times during the last battle, and it was with Peter Parker's entrance, and then when Cap picked up Mjolnir and all that,
Oh
and
yeah.
I guess it's like cheering along with 50, 100 other people is really cool. I mean, you rewatch it now at home. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool, and you're by yourself in the living room cheering.
I think definitely like what you all said. Like, I think if anything, the theater is all about the experience. Like, I'll be honest, I used to not really go to theaters that often. I don't like the thing that changed was once Marvel started, like the MCU started really taking off, and it started like churning out like a movie every single year. I mean, that's fine my wallet, and then they started doing like two a year, and then I was like, oi. But
Oh
I think like
yeah.
that's when I actually started like going to theaters because like me and like my two older sisters like they would all want to go see it the next thing because like it was exciting. But like I'd say definitely for sure like the experience of theaters. Also, is it just me or have theaters slightly improved the seats? Because I swear over the
Yeah.
years they've all like upgraded their seats to be like really comfy recliners.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I can definitely think of like I think the Cinemark does that, doesn't that? Isn't that right?
Even like the dollar theaters have like better seats now, honestly. But like I think honestly, like the thing with streaming is that a lot of it is the hey, on one side you have movie theaters, like it's the experience more than anything. But when you're looking at the other end of the spectrum, the future of streaming is it's the ease. It's like so convenient. You could
Hmm.
watch it from any device. And I think because of the pandemic, like a lot of I think it's Warner Brothers. I think a lot of studios are just doing it directly to like their own streaming platforms. Like I said, I think Warner Brothers. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. Like the Wonder Woman and like the other like the Godzilla versus Kong, or maybe it's Kong versus Godzilla. I forget the name. The one with the monkey versus the radioactive dinosaur, pretty much. But I think
Yeah.
that one's
oh
going straight to HBO Max as well.
Yes.
yep.
So I think like it is like hurting the movie industry like 100%. But I think like I'm trying to think.
But you also have to ask, why is Hollywood still relying on movie theaters? Because they're still sending movies to movie theaters and not just straight to streaming. well, in some cases, but they're still sending movies to movie theaters, even though they know the copious amounts of people that have streaming service.
And the problem is, like, movie theaters need to adapt, I think, more than anything. I think. Like,
Yeah.
like after the pandemic, because the problem is, I think it's slowly starting to become like a dying industry. But I think what's important is that they need to be able to learn to adapt. Like, I'll be honest, I don't have a suggestion on what they could do to adapt. I just know that, like, it's necessary. Because, like, a lot of things, like, they don't adapt with the times. Like, prime example. Okay, I'm the oldest one here, I'm pretty sure. Do y'all remember Blockbuster?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good, I'm not that old. Just double checking here. But I think, like, for example, like Blockbuster, like, you could easily, like, like, rent a thing, and then, like, Netflix came around. Like, I remember, like, when I was little, like, Netflix was still, like, a small thing, and, like, my eldest sister and, like, my brother-in-law, like, they would, like, rent stuff from, like, Netflix, but, like, it was basically like Redbox in the sense that they would basically send you the physical DVD in the mail. You basically rent it, and then you have to send it back. Like, I don't know if anyone actually remembers that, or, like, had Netflix way back then.
I did that for the Clone Wars,
Yeah,
actually.
like, at first, like, that was really weird, but, like, and slowly, like, it slowly expanded, but, like, I think the issue is Blockbuster, I don't think ever, like, adapted that to, like, having, like, a more new method. I think that's why they eventually went out of business. I mean, granted, they went in business for, like, a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's more like a lack of being able to adapt with the thing. Like, actually, if you think about it, there's been a lot of, like, huge... what's the term? Corporations, I guess? Companies or whatever? That just, like, were around for, like, a long time, but just, like, for whatever reason, just kind of, like, faded out. Like, I think Sears is, like, a big one. Like, Macy's, Toys R Us,
Oh, yeah.
Like, all those big ones. Like, I mean...
The department stores are definitely falling through the cracks, I think, because of bigger and newer amenities like Amazon, for instance, that gives you that fast, easy, and affordable options that those department stores would give you.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, grocery stores, like, Walmart, Albertsons, even, like, smaller ones, like, Aldi or whatever. Like, I think, like, they're adapting by, like, doing, like, the online shopping thing. Where, like, they're really trying to compete.
Yeah.
Like, I think online shopping, though, honestly, just really took off because of the pandemic. But even before, I believe, like, a couple stores were already doing it, which was a good thought. But, like, going back to the topic on hand, like, I think, like, this kind of mentality of being able to adapt is important. Like, I don't know what movie theaters could do, but I think, like, if they don't find some way to adapt, sooner than later, honestly, movie theaters will go out of business.
Yeah, that's what's the sad thing, but I guess that's what happens when things change.
Yeah, the issue is of, like, more compact technology that they use in theaters too, because, like, they always said, oh, the surround sound, especially like IMAX theaters, is amazing, and it is. I've gone to a couple IMAX theaters before, and then a couple of years later, oh, we have home surround sounds stereos now. You have the curved screen of the IMAX theater. A couple years later, oh, look at this, we have a curved TV screen. So, of a lot of those big flashy things that drew people a lot coming to home, I think that's also not helped. I don't know. So a theater I would love to go to is the one. What was it? Was it in Italy that had the pods, the socially distanced pods?
Oh,
in the chamber.
yes.
Was that Italy?
I don't know, but yes.
Someone fact check us.
I'll fact check myself. But I think if they could just new stuff, that's what I think attracts people a lot. But if you can get those at home, then you lose a big portion of that crowd coming in.
Yeah, because it was just like back in the 20th century whenever the rise of television came along. Because whenever you went to the movies back then, the movie theaters. It was like a huge social event. Everyone would
Mm-hmm.
go to the movies, like everyone. And then the rise of the television, where you could just have this box in your living room. The family could go around, you could watch your, soap operas or whatever, and companies would put on advertisements and companies would utilize that. So the movie and theater industry started implementing new tactics to combat that opposition that they had with this new technology and this new obstacle. And then now I think we're going through another kind of that, I guess, rift or challenge within the movie theater industry, like we did
Mm-hmm.
in the 20th century.
History is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think honestly, like I think we did touch about we touched on this. I'm pretty sure, like last episode. But I believe like as a whole, I think the entertainment industry is really shifting a lot. So remember, like we talked about how like shorter attention spans. That's why I think like the return of like TV shows has become a lot more prevalent. Cause it's like they're like made like small like bite-sized kind of pieces, or like if you really like it, you want the long experience, you can just like binge something.
Yep. I've got to be honest. I don't know like how plausible this idea is, but it would be cool. Like so, back to Disney, they're releasing the week by week shows like WandaVision,
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian, and all the upcoming shows that are coming. It would be cool to see those on a live screen, on like a big screen.
Ooh.
I don't know how that would work. Like if you had a weekly pass or something, that would be kind of cool. Because like I brought up earlier, the energy of the crowd on premiere nights for the Marvel and Star Wars movies was just something like I haven't felt anywhere else, and that'd be
Mm-hmm.
really cool, especially with with spoiler warning with Luke in the
Ooh.
last episode of The Mandalorian. Like how cool would that have been? COVID aside, we could have been in a large
Mm-hmm.
room with 100 people all cheering once they saw the Green Blade or something like that.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm trying to think like, cause I know like some theaters like did like before Endgame came out. I'm sure you'll like remember this, but there was also like some theaters were doing like the marathon, like you could watch like every single movie
Oh yeah,
in the MCU up to that point. How long would it take to go through a season of an average show? Because currently, what the average show is how many episodes now? Is it 12?
12. So
Yeah, taters around that.
12 episode, average of 40 minutes.
40,
Some do like
that's 8 hours.
30.
About 8 hours.
480 hours divided by 60. Yeah, that's 8 hours exact, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I,
That could be doable, like a special, like once a month on the weekend showing for a day. It's feasible.
Mhm.
But that would be interesting because usually you have the connotation that for TV shows you just watch them on the go or whatever, or like at home, but then put in the theater context. That would be really interesting to
Mhm.
see how that would be implemented.
Okay, so I'm not a film major by any means, but I know they're using that wide pan technique. I know they used it for The Mandalorian. I saw it a couple times during WandaVision, like where the screen goes from like your rectangle gets longer and shorter and longer or something like that. Like the screen, like the resolution changes. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah,
I remember. I
and I
know
know.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I know. I read up on it, and it's like that's designed to mimic panning in a movie theater, and I think that it would just be so cool to see that projected on the humongous screen and
Oh,
see that
yeah.
fully come to life.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting when I did see that in The Mandalorian and especially in WandaVision because it was so jarring. I was like, why did they do that? What was the importance to that? Because it especially um for certain scenes where things. I'm going to touch on this very lightly. Um, especially where things were getting revealed and certain things were being hidden from other characters in the audience. And so it was very interesting to see how they utilize the borders going from 16:9 to the normal resolution of I think a television screen from the whatever decade that the WandaVision was, inspiring that episode from. And I feel like it helps kind of gauge also the focus of the audience and the just the action that's going on in that scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have to do that. Like now that we're talking about it, it's just like, oh, I want to do it now.
Mm-hmm. I think definitely that's definitely like a fun idea. But anyway, speaking like of like entertainment, like I believe we touched upon this last episode. I think there will be a lot of overlap. So to any of the listeners, like I apologize for like a slight overlap, but anyway, I think like what do y'all think honestly makes a good story? Cause like we touched on how there's a lot of like remakes. It seems like Hollywood's just running out of ideas in general. So in each of y'all's opinion, what constitutes like a good story? What's something that would keep like you, a viewer, captivated?
I think this is really relevant right now. Um, diversity is probably up there on my list. Not, I guess, yeah, diversity within the cast and characters, race, gender, sexuality, all those. Just several franchises have started to expand, and I find myself being drawn um, into those movies, those shows more often, just because, man, this is something that I haven't seen before. I normally see, I'm stereotyping right now, these action movies with all these white guys. There's one white female, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing just a whole variety of different characters is really it's different, and I think a lot of people like seeing different things, so that's what they'll be drawn to. Um, I, I'll try to think of something else.
No, that was all very good. I feel like character plays such a huge important role in story. Story in the end can be simplified as far as like from books to TV shows to movies can be simplified with like a story about a blank like a character who blanks, who goes and does something. And when you have those two aspects of character and then an underlying motivation and action, you get your story. And now that can be done really well, but that can be done very poorly, as I bet many of us have seen in our lifetimes. But I really love stories that have characters that make decisions that I would want to make in that specific situation, and they're written to not be perfect, but take their situation and rise above it,
Mm-hmm.
and especially inspire me to be a better person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's um Jace. I don't know if you remember us talking about this a long time ago, but you sent me that one post. It's like, have you ever? Oh, I don't remember. It was something about your personality traits reflecting
Yes,
not only those
yes,
around you, but like the characters that you invest your time in.
yes,
And I
yes,
started talking
yes.
about it.
Is it
I
some?
brought,
Is it somewhere in our pinned?
yeah, I brought up the fact that I don't know. This is a little bit off topic, but so I fractured my left wrist in third grade. It doesn't hurt anymore. It's not like unlike my knees, it doesn't react to the weather or anything. It's just, well, highest there. But Tony Stark hurt his left wrist in the first Iron Man movie. And I've never really noticed that, like, when I'm bored or, like, fidgeting, I will grab my left wrist with my other hand and, like, kind of hold it. I've had several people ask me, "Is your left wrist hurting?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm just resting, I guess." And I didn't think about it until I was watching Civil War. And it was, like, the prominent scene after he leaves the prison and is heading to, like, that final base where he'll fight with Captain America, and he's holding his left wrist. I was like, wait a second, I do that a lot.
That I really like that. That's kind of a cool little niche way to identify with a character and their mannerisms and just things that they've dealt with as well. That's why I think that a lot of times we shouldn't be afraid to not like injure, but like give these characters a lot of tangible, how do I word this? Like tangible weaknesses so that we can be more comfortable in our own skin and kind of see this character who has that tangible weakness but yet pushes through that and acts accordingly and becomes a better person because of it.
Yeah, a lot of people like characters that they can root for and identify for.
Oh yeah, everyone loves the underdog.
Yeah, and it's creators can make their characters human. There is one post I like on Pinterest. I saved it to my writing board, and it's like, you don't add flaws to a character by saying, okay, this person is strong, loyal, and I don't know. Let's give him arachnophobia and call it a day, and that's his flaw. When I don't know.
I guess here's a flaw. There you go. Oh, you're a character now. I've checked the list. They have a weakness. Wow, look at me.
Have fun fighting a Titan. I don't know.
Yes.
But the post explained it was your flaws come from your strengths. So if you're loyal, you could be naive because of your like tunnel vision focus on the person that you're loyal to. If you're strong, you could be, or brave, you could be reckless, stuff like that. And I think that definitely helps make the story because it makes the characters more human, and we can find, oh yeah, I do that type stuff.
I do that.
I think like so like I'm just gonna address like both your points like one at a time. So I think like definitely like diversity I think is like definitely like important because I think there's so much of the cookie cutter like kind of mold, you know, and a lot of modern stuff that I think honestly like just it sucks a lot of like my desire to actually watch something. Like, but I think the studio that's been doing well is Marvel. Surprisingly, has been kind of starting to kind of work a little bit outside the box. Because if you look at like let's say like the Phase 1 stuff, it was very by the book. You could tell they had a formula. And then if you notice, like, so I think it was like Phase 3. I think I don't remember the exact number. Like that's when they started like changing up. Like they took a gamble, like Guardians of the Galaxy, like a different vibe. Like Thor Ragnarok, they took like a I'm not even gonna try pronouncing a director's name because I'm gonna completely butcher it.
Taika Waititi.
Thank you.
I got you.
But I think like he wasn't like as well known. I think so. Like they just took like a gamble with like someone unknown, and then when they went like Black Panther, like Marvel took like I guess it wasn't like a big risk, but it was like an educated risk.
They
the
took
right
big
term.
strides.
Like Thor Ragnarok, you look at the first two Thors, like Tone, and then Thor Ragnarok, like the complete difference is like.
It's like the different younger sibling that the older two don't want to talk about, but we all love anyway.
It revitalized it. Like it made it actually like entertaining. These
Oh
little
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited with one of Marvel's upcoming projects, the Shang-Chi. I am
Oh
so
Yes.
excited for that. Like, because here's the thing. Like, I mean, obviously our listeners don't know this, but I'm Asian American. But the something that for me has always kind of struck a chord is the lack of Asian American representation, or just like Asian representation in the film industry, really, like as a prominent role. If anything, the Asian character's doing like a sidekick or something. So the fact that there's gonna be like a superhero film with a Asian main character, I mean, sure it's Chinese and I'm Japanese, but still, it's improvement.
yeah.
like, I'm actually excited about that. Because
And
there's also this principle of, I think it's, what's it called? Is it whitewashing or something? Whatever. Like where like they'll
mhm,
take a character who's like originally like a different race and just like change it.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
prime example
Whitewashing.
is y'all know the character Iron Fist.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, I actually didn't know this. I learned this like several months ago. Interestingly, the original character was actually Asian
Really?
Oh, we love to see it.
in
Oh
the
my
Dang.
god.
comics. Apparently,
And then
the original Iron Fist, I believe.
in the Netflix or
Eh,
the newer shows, he's a
No.
white dude with curly
I
hair or
think it
whatever.
switched during. I think it was the comics eventually changed into that. I know like I read this somewhere. I was like really intrigued, but like I didn't have time to actually go and actually look into it more. I mean, I might
That
be
would
wrong.
make
I just read it somewhere.
sense.
I just read it somewhere, and I was like, huh. Because it's like if you look his character's origins, like it's based on like Asian culture or whatever. But I think the thought of like diversity one thing definitely has me excited. Of course, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I've had my hopes up for so many stuff and just had them like dashed to the ground and stomped on. So cautiously optimistic, but Marvel so far has done really good job. Like
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I was not sure about Black Panther at first, cause like I heard about it and I was like, is it just people getting really overly excited? Cause I honestly thought it was gonna be overhyped. Cause I thought, okay, it's got an African American like or African like cast main character. I was thinking, okay, are people just hyping up because of that? Because it's making such big strides, and they're just being biased because of that? So that's why I went and I was very skeptical. I realized no, in fact, like that just adds to it. It's an amazing film, amazing, well done,
Mhm.
but that little cast makes it even better. If that makes sense.
It
So
adds
I
an
think,
authentic
mhm.
touch to it.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think I have. I'm hopeful Marvel will do well. They have a pretty good track record so far, so I guess it's just waiting and seeing. Yeah,
I
that's. Hmm. Go
yeah.
on. Sorry,
Sorry.
my bad. Go on.
Oh, okay. That's my bad. I'm I was caught by your like the cookie cutter
Mm-hmm.
comment a little bit ago, and I was thinking that is my problem with diversity. Whenever they're trying to force it, it's like
Mm.
they reach into a jar like, okay, we have a person of color. Okay, we have a disabled person. Okay, ooh, look at this, a very special person of the LGBT community. Perfect. We have a diverse cast. Let's get on with your stereotypical story. And they
Oh
think that
yeah.
that makes up the story. Like I feel comfortable saying this on stream. I am a member of the LGBT community, and it, I don't know, representation definitely has not been the best. It's been getting better, and I think back to Shira. So I don't know if we talked about this show last episode.
I don't
Um,
think so. I could be
I don't
wrong,
think
and my
I
memory is goldfish, so don't take my
we're
word for
talking
it.
about remakes, but so they took oh no, what was the original show called? Was it He-Man?
Hmm.
yeah,
Sounds
I
about
think
right.
So yeah, um, and then I know it was they just included a bunch of different natural diversity, um, both gender orientation. I don't know how to put it. There's one character with autism and all that sort, and it felt natural, and it was a really enjoyable show, partially because of that. And I think that's what I love about diversity, just because it adds naturalism to the stories, realism to the stories.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you do treat it like a checklist, you undermine a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It's all about that balance, honestly.
Yeah.
But the problem is the cookie cutter mold, like, because I feel like the problem with the film industry is they have this mentality that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like they think, okay, cookie cutter movies still make a lot of money, so let's just keep going with this formula. I think there's a lack of this initiative or desire to try something outside the box, something new, and take risks. And I think the problem with this staying with this cookie cutter mold is causing more harm than good. Like, prime example, movie that I was really disappointed by, and I'll be honest, I actually didn't even watch it because I like saw the reviews. I was like, yeah, nope. Is the Artemis Fowl?
Oh my
Like,
gosh! Don't get me started.
The books are just so
I
good.
love the books.
And then I saw the trailer, and immediately I heard about the movie. It was in the works for a while. I was like hopeful, and I saw the first trailer, and like I just had this plummeting feeling. I was like, oh no. And like from my some reviews, like everything, it was just a money grab. If anything, there's like a lack of depth. Anything that made it special, like the character actually special, was just stripped away.
Yes, completely 100% understand. I gave it the benefit of the doubt and actually watched the movie.
Oh, I am so sorry for those wasted minutes of your life.
Yeah, I wish I had them back.
You ain't getting those back.
The only good things I remember from that movie was the cinematography at the very beginning with the Irish rolling hills. I was like, wow, green and pretty, and the music at the beginning. Those are the only good things I remember. Other than that, they like changed they changed the whole plot of the first book, and it was very disappointing. I was like, what is this? This isn't what I read. This wasn't what childhood Lynn liked.
Like sometimes they think, like I think, like I could be wrong completely, but I feel like a lot of the filmmakers, like they think, okay, show adapt it from like a book to a movie, but we gotta change it up because then it's predictable. But then they turn into a cookie cutter, but maybe people find predictable because they strip away what actually made it like worth. Like, another example, Percy Jackson movies. Like, good grief. Even the author, like, bashed on them. Thankfully, like, he's at the helm of, like, a show currently they're working on. He actually really likes it. He has, like, creative control and stuff. So I think it's gonna turn out good, I hope. But, like, that's the thing. There's so many examples. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of, like, good book series, like, I love. But with the way the current climate of the film industry, I don't know if I want to see them on the big screen because I'm just afraid of like how they might be ruined. That makes sense. Like that illusion.
Yeah, so in that, what deviates from becoming a good story for those adaptations and even for the cookie cutter movies is that aspect of originality and taking those steps to become something different and not just a cash grab, if that makes sense. To actually put intent and purpose behind the characters and their motivations and developing them, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think, like, I feel like it's a more recent problem than anything. Like, I think it's been in, like, the past decade, I think, that's happened. Or, like, it's becoming more and more prevalent of an issue. Because, like...
We might also just be realizing it because we're older and...
I mean, honestly, that is a very valid thing. But, like, sometimes there's, like, some adaptations that just are... Prime example, in my opinion, like, the golden standard, Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay, Hobbit was, like, pretty good. It was a little bit heavy emphasis on, like, the battle scenes, and it kind of extended one book into, like, 3 movies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. It gives me chills. But, like, Lord of the Rings trilogy still superior. Just a gold standard of movie.
Right.
Like, because, and if you watch the extended edition as well, like, it's even better.
Peter Jackson did an amazing job.
He did.
Only sadness was no Tom Bombadil, but we
Oh,
can't have it
yeah.
all. That was the only downside. But other than that, like,
You win some, you lose some.
honestly, I need to rewatch them. Are they on streaming platforms? I need to figure out.
Last time I heard, I think they might be on Netflix.
Netflix has something. And
Okay,
it has
I'll
something.
check Netflix. I do have Netflix, so I can check it. Because I think that's actually the first PG-13 movies I've actually ever seen. Now I think about it.
Yo, I think that might be mine as well.
It was really funny. Cause wait,
Always.
because my dad wanted to like watch it with me, but like my mom was like against it. But like he managed to convince her. So like we just like went like inside like his. He has like a office slash like study or whatever. So we basically just like watched in there, and he for the first time I watched extended editions because
Oh,
like
wow.
he didn't want me to watch like the normal ones. He wanted to watch extended editions first,
Oh yeah,
and
that's really
we
cool.
would watch it like Sunday afternoon and evening. Took us like a month, but oh, it was worth it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think it was my first. Wait, is Star Wars PG-13 or PG? A New Hope.
Which one?
New
A
Hope.
New
Really?
Hope? No, that's PG
Okay, yeah, so
It's
it was
PG.
Lord of the Rings.
or whatever.
It was Lord of the Rings then. If it is PG. But I just remember just watching it for the first time because like I read the books when I was young. Don't ask me how young. I forget. So being able to see it like on the screen, like, and he also had like a guide. It was like a movie guide, like done like by the studio. Like it had like little interviews with like the cast and like little like details and stuff. Unfortunately, he lost it. I don't like find it on Amazon, but like it kind of like helped like kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff. But I'm sorry, I could like gush on and on about how amazing the Lord of the Rings trilogy is for a good hour. But getting back on but getting back on topic, like that's like the gold standard for how to adapt a book into or books plural into a movie. The fact is, I feel like that ability has just been kind of yeeted out the window in exchange for like that cookie cutter formula for just churning something out that makes money. I think it's all about. I think the current mindset is quantity over quality. Like the more more movies you can put out, the quicker, then you make more money instead of taking time to make something that's truly just.
Yeah. I agree. Oh,
I have another point on this topic that I want to bring up, but I want to make sure that I'm not going to intrude on anything like we're wrapping up other ties because it's a completely different thing that makes a good story. But I want to make sure that I'm not going to be burning any other loose ties that we have.
You're good.
I don't think so.
Okay,
Can't think of anything.
so writers adding plot twists just for the sake of shock value.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yes.
So the example I want to use, I'm so sorry, can I use an example from Dream SMP because I'm currently in brain rot over there?
Oh, of course,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Oh, right now.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. So the Manberg versus Pogtopia, whole thing versus Slap. Like Wilbur kept saying, "Oh yeah, I have tons of TNT under L'Manberg. I'm gonna blow up L'Manberg." Technoblade kept saying, "Yeah, governments aren't good." And then it was hinted that there's gonna be a traitor during the fight. And then it was obviously hinted towards Wilbur and Technoblade. And then if the writers just said, "Oh yeah, Tommy, the one person that has been against Pogtopia from the start, has been exiled, has no reason to destroy L'Manberg. Yeah, he's the traitor." That would be the plot twist for shock value, and shock value only. And I think you're not a good writer if you don't reward your readers for paying attention to the foreshadowing. Like a lot of authors try really hard putting all the hits into stories. And if the readers catch on, then you get this really big sense of accomplishment whenever you catch on to the plot twist. You're like, I wonder. And it happens. And you're like, I knew it because of X, Y, and Z that the author or the filmmakers put in beforehand.
Absolutely. Like I can't
Yeah.
really think of like a really good example off the top of my head, but like you said, like the times when there's like those little subtle clues, like if you blink you miss them, but like after the plot twist happens, you go back and you see those, you're like, oh my word, like it all adds up.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's like the most rewarding thing is when you can go back and be like, "Oh, I was blind this whole time." And see the little hints that the author or director has dropped into the story to allude to this grand reveal.
So I guess this would be retroactive foreshadowing, but like all the times in the Clone Wars where Anakin did something not so great, and you had the hints of the Imperial March in the background.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if that's a good example to include. I've got to be honest, but that's the only thing I can think of as far as if you're paying attention, you catch on type thing. Like
For
if you're
me, the first.
Sorry.
go ahead.
Oh,
Go on.
oh, sorry. For me, the first example that comes to mind as far as like those little hints that once you rewatch the film or the TV show or read the book again, you start to catch on and be like, oh, that's what this happened, is in the movie Tenet by Christopher Nolan. There are so many hints when I rewatched the film.
Wait, can I say something? Can I definitely real quick? Because I do want to watch
Yes.
the movie. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Spoiler alert to those who are going to watch Tenet, but I'll just repeat this. So in the movie Tenet by Christopher Nolan, there are several hints throughout the movie that allude to who the main villain is and how his wife starts to break free from because his wife is put in this a very abusive, very horrible situation, and there's different hints to how that will be solved. And since it is a time-related movie, you can have that happen through, going backwards and forwards in time, and then also showing like one character and then a past version of that character interacting in that same, kind of universe. I was trying to be very vague with that, but I feel like that's another tactic. I feel you can use time a lot whenever you're trying to allude to different plot twists and foreshadowing as well.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. But, like the principle, like foreshadowing, like is like really good. Like, I guess not a spoiler warning for, like Star Wars, but and I think
Hello?
Clone Wars. I think what I really love is the little hints. Like if you look back about like how beneficial like Ahsoka was to Anakin. Like I'll be honest, at the beginning, like when they first introduced, I was like, "What in the world? This doesn't make any sense." But like toward the end of the series, like I think especially like Ahsoka's like leaving the Jedi Order, I think like that starts to be the catalyst where you really see Anakin's like faith in the Jedi Order start to really kind of what's the word, erode, I guess, is that the right word I'm looking for here?
Yeah.
Or like he starts to really lose faith in them. And like I mean the closing scene, I think it's the closing scene, he's on that snow planet, he's in the Vader outfit or whatever, he's just standing there. You can just see like the thing of Anakin. I think it's that having lost, or at least he thinks that he's lost Ahsoka, I think is like the last time you really see Anakin, and you realize like that's when he's like lost everything. But that little hints throughout of the closeness. I'm trying to think of like more examples of like really good foreshadowing. Like my mind's coming up on a complete blank.
What is? You can post them in the comments.
What?
Listeners can post them in the comments. Contribute to our lack of recollection right now.
Yeah. either way, we'll see. You all have anything else to add?
I
I really like this discussion. I
too.
feel like film is a really cool
Mhm.
medium, and I like film a lot.
Uh, Okay, because there's one last topic I guess that I want to discuss real quick before we wrap up. But that's if we're good on this.
I,
Bring
I
it.
we are.
Okay, so I know we said the film industry it needs change, it needs improvement. So assuming it improves, or here let me figure out the best way to phrase this. So assuming that it's done well, not perfect since perfection is practically impossible, but done to almost completely satisfactory to a really good point. What book or book series would you want to see adapted and put onto the big screen?
Ooh. Let me look at my bookshelf real quick. So one that I think would be interesting to see on screen. Have y'all ever heard of the Scythe series by When did you two get here?
Is that the trilogy?
Yes. It's by what's his
The
face?
the
Face.
the
Um,
the Neil something, right?
it's Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman.
No, I think that's the
Neil
same guy.
Gaiman.
Chesterman.
I'm
Chesterman.
pretty sure
It's Neil Chesterman.
that sounds about
Um,
right.
I think that would be really cool because of the. I don't know. I'll try to keep this as broad as I can.
I mean,
So
spoiler
it's.
warning right now to listeners.
I'll try to
There
keep
we
this
go.
very
This is
spoiler.
gonna be a trend.
It's like the premise of the setting. So there's this omnipotent being called the Thunderhead, and it's basically humanity perfected AI to the point that AI took over, but the AI being the Thunderhead, but instead of the Thunderhead being all dictatorship, he's like, man, humans are a mess. I'm gonna help them fix each other, and he did.
Ooh.
And kind of the whole ambiguity of the Thunderhead, and then the role of the Scythe. What happened is humanity prospered to the point that they eliminated death, and you had these. You could do what they call turn the corner. Whenever you got old, you're like, I'm 70 years old right now. You know what? I really liked it when I was 20. So you'll turn the corner and you'll be 20 again, but you'll still have all your memories. You would only die if a scythe killed you. The scythe were just ordinary humans that were chosen to be trained as a scythe, and they have power granted to them, the authority granted to them by the Thunderhead to end someone's life, and that helps control the overpopulation. And I think, I don't know, I no story spoilers, but it gets really good in the second and third book, and I think it'd be really cool to see how it's portrayed in a cinematic
Mm-hmm.
um, direction.
That does sound really interesting.
Mm. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it, Lynn.
Oh yes, for sure.
It's
Right.
really good.
Might look into it. Ooh.
I honestly ooh, that. You got any ideas, Lynn? What you want to see on a big screen? I mean, it doesn't have to be live action. It could also be animated or something. But just what you like to see adapted.
For me, I know there's been other adaptations in the past, but I'd love to see a solid adaptation of Fahrenheit 451. It's one of my favorite
Ooh.
classic books, and for me what really inspired me to get invested in story and storytelling and literature. And I feel like having that on screen would be the visual. You could do so much visually with that book, and especially with Guy Montag's realization about what he's doing and the society that he's in as well. It's one of my favorite one of my favorite classic books that I read whenever I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think like there's like I'm trying to think. Okay, I haven't nailed down like 3. Okay. Even though
Bring
y'all only give like 1 each though. So I feel bad if I share all 3.
It's okay.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. One of them is just because like I know like my niece who's like I think she's 10. Is she 10? Wait, no. Maybe she's 11. I should know this. I am a bad uncle.
Bad uncle.
Okay, but either way, one series she really loves, and I'll admit it gets a little bit ridiculous, honestly, because of so many books at this point, is the Warriors series, the cats.
Like the Warrior Cats?
Yeah, by Aaron Hunter. Like, just the original.
Oh,
Not the sequel stuff, just the
yeah.
original. Like, that would be actually kind of cool. Like, I know a lot of kids, like, love that.
That would be interesting in the like semi-realistic. I'm thinking Guardians of the Cool
Oh.
realistic style. That would be interesting.
Like,
I would like to see that. That would be really
It's
cool.
hard for me to see that being done well. That's the issue.
Yeah. I think we all kind of got scarred by the recent Cats movie, though.
I didn't watch it.
Like,
CGI.
Because I didn't have a fascination with the musical, so I was like, okay, I don't care.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I rewatched
2D animation.
Yeah, that would be cool. I rewatched Guardians of the Whole like a month ago. And even like back then, it was not too jarring because there weren't any humans that I remember in the movie that were prominent enough for you to see the animation. But it wasn't realistic enough that it looked like a real movie, but it wasn't childish enough that it looked like an actual animation. It was kind of like a cool blend of animation and CGI.
Yeah.
That would be the style if they were able, if they went the route of doing a TV series or a series of movies based on the original 6 books. That's the style I want to see it at. And
I mean, okay, off topic. Was I the only one who it took like 2 to 3 years to realize that the humans were pronounced 2 legs, and I was because I was reading it as like 12 legs.
Oh, no.
Like 2 3 years. It took a while, and then it clicked.
Legs.
I'm intelligent, okay? I'm intelligent, and it just clicked one day. I was like, wait a second, I'm an idiot. It was a little mortifying. I'm not gonna lie. It was. I really had a question my reading comprehension ability at that point in time, but it was like a lot of
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and laugh. I'm laughing as well. But yeah, it was a little Okay, but yeah, so that's one like I think definitely like a mix of like live action / CGI I think would be interesting. Another one, definitely I'd want animated. Not live action like CGI, animated Redwall.
Ooh.
Oh, a fun fact. I think Netflix is starting to create a Redwall series with the same director as the person who did Over the Garden Wall, I think.
Oh.
Let me double check.
Now that you mention it, I think I saw something on Twitter about that.
I think there was I'm trying to think. There was a series I think a long time ago for it, but honestly, can I just say like Brian Jacks, like his food descriptions, good grief. All the feasts are just There's actually a
they are
Redwall
making.
cookbook. Oh, sorry, go on, Lynn.
No, they are making a Netflix adaptation. I think it's supposed to be a TV show or a feature film and a TV series.
Ooh.
And they've enlisted Patrick McHale, who worked on Over the Garden Wall, to write the feature film.
I got nothing. I have no idea who that is.
Over the Garden Wall was a Cartoon Network miniseries. It's really good. It's a nice little thing that you can watch in an evening.
Huh. Maybe I'll check it out. But okay, I mean, honestly, hopefully, like, it'll be good. But anyway, like, that'd be good. But I could talk about the freaking Redwall food because Brian Jackson knows how to explain food. Like,
I always I had to take a break and like just grab a snack afterwards. I always got hungry.
there's a Redwall cookbook like I bought from the library once. I tried some of the stuff. It was really good. Not gonna lie. I need to see if it's on Amazon because I actually want to buy it. Not gonna lie. I actually might, depending if it's as long as it's not like super overpriced. Okay, but and then third last but not least, I'm sorry, like I have three options. It's hard to
Oh.
choose. But third option I think about this is probably the one I'd want to see the most. Izza knows this. Lynn, you need to read this. Ranger's Apprentice.
Oh, I've had a lot of friends who are into Ranger's Apprentice.
It's where our favorite quote comes from.
Yeah, it's the one where Jenna always freaking cry. Jenna.
Should we? Should we say it?
So I've been thinking.
Always
The
a
dangerous
dangerous
past.
That's where we got that from. Also, I
Here we
just
go.
realized we should clarify this at the beginning of the podcast. I just realized I was doing it the whole time without thinking. Yeah, so I call Jenna Izza sometimes. Actually, I lie. Most of the time, it's a habit. I'm trying to break it so it doesn't confuse the listener. But yeah, if I say Izza, I mean Jenna. Same difference.
Or
Probably
if
should
he
clarify that
pauses
earlier.
before he calls me Jenna.
It's me
Yeah,
trying
I've
to
only
train my
known
brain.
Jenna. I don't know who this is a person is. I'm
It's
just kidding.
yeah. But yeah, should clarify that. But yeah, like
Yep.
oh, but
So that's where the identity crisis joke came from.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
But honestly, Lynn, you should read that. Like, oh,
Yes, please do.
I'm actually upset because the latest book, I can't. It's not. It's not on my my library, like the online one, the ebook thing, the Libby or
It's
whatever.
the
Prince.
is it the Prince
It
one?
came out
Yeah,
like September, I think, last
I know.
year, and it hasn't shown up yet, and I'm upset because I want to read it, but I can't go to like a physical library. It's sadness. It's a lot of sadness. I
Sad.
want to read it, and I can't. Sadness. But yeah, Ranger's Apprentice, like, oh, that'd be good. But
You said you wanted to see it animated?
no, that was like Redwall animated, Warriors
That's right.
live action / CGI, Ranger's Apprentice.
Yeah,
live
I
action.
was about to say I couldn't see
Yeah,
RA as animated.
Mm-hmm. But oh, like if it's done right, just
So-
imagine. Ooh, maybe they'd film it in New Zealand. Beautiful scenery.
That would be.
Yes.
That'd be beautiful.
Not gonna lie,
Is it-
Lord of the Rings is the only reason I really like.
Isn't John Flanagan? Isn't he from New
Oh
Zealand?
yeah, he is. Even more incentive.
There you go.
The author, people. There we go. Yeah.
But
Thanks.
my
I
concern.
feel like there's been talk of hold up.
What?
I mean, it's years ago that I saw something about it. I feel like it was in discussion.
I think it was in discussion. I just don't remember like if it ever got past the discussion phase. But honestly, like.
Okay. Well,
Huh?
a film based on YA adventure series Ranger's Apprentice has received funding and is expected to begin production in 2020. Well, I think I can name something that might have put a halt on that.
Yeah,
Oh.
and if we're being honest, a lot of stuff is like planned, but like honestly, never really. Like, it just gets delayed. Like I think Artemis Fowl
Yeah.
was like honestly like the film was in the works. I think way back.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that went on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. We could do a whole episode on just the conspiracies
Ooh.
behind the Artemis Fowl movie.
Okay, but I think like, my only concern is because like at least like the main series is like 10 books. Like my biggest concern would be like they would try to combine them. Honestly, that'd be like my biggest concern. That they like just try combining it together and then just like leave out stuff. Or wait, do you know what'd be a good solution? Actually,
What?
no, they could do 10 movies potentially. I mean, they did it with Harry Potter. They did 8.
Yeah,
Though
8.
that was 8. But yeah, words. Apologies. But what they could do is do it as a TV series.
I would like that with a season being 2 books.
That could work. That could work.
Mm-hmm.
What was? Oh, the 11th was the Lost Stories, and the 12th was the Royal.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Because like
That's right.
the TV series, like most TV series, like you have a lot more character development, which I feel like for a book series like Ranger's Apprentice would be really, really good.
Oh, and they were able to fix the book 7 happening before 5 and 6.
Oh, they would, yeah. hmm Ooh, imagine Peter Jackson directing.
Oh,
like book 4, oh, ooh, okay.
or book 4.
He is.
Or book 10. Honestly,
Oh, 10 was in
Nihonja.
the Nyanja. That's right. I didn't want to mispronounce it.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right. Wasn't it 9 and 10 that were there, or is it just 10?
Just 10.
8 and 9 were Halt's Peril in the
Yeah.
Clover.
Kings
It's not
of
Cloverdale.
Calm now, whatever. Yeah.
Clover.
Because
Yeah.
honestly, like the first 4 was like the first arc, and it was 1 through 4, and then chronologically 7, and then 5 and 6, and then 8, 9,
8 and 9.
and then
and
10. But
Oh yeah, Butterfly. That's right.
Lynn's just confused at this point. I'm sorry, Lynn.
So it's A-okay. I'm here for your enthusiasm.
But yeah. Anyway.
Yes. Do you believe that was the last thing that we were going to talk about?
Yeah. I feel like today's discussion was very fruitful. We learned a lot about like the film industry, or discussed a lot about the film industry as far as
True.
I
Learning's
don't
a
know, we
bit
just
of a
learned about-
stretch.
Yeah, we just learned about what we thought about the film industry and like movie theaters and stuff like that. And then like especially what makes a good movie to put in those movie theaters and streaming services, as well as books that we would like to see one day adapted. Perhaps we'll see how they turn out. But thank you all again so much for listening to us ramble, and we super enjoy everyone who listens to our podcast. Please make sure that if you feel so inclined to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Again, this is the Lofi Mafia podcast, and I hope you all have a great evening or day or afternoon or wherever you're listening to this. See you later.
Peace.
Bye-bye.